Member North Vancouver Seymour.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. After yesterday's non-announcement about ride-sharing, I started to get lots of emails. My constituent, Bob, sent me a message, and I quote, "Just drive across the Lions Gate Bridge early Saturday or Sunday morning, and you will see young people walking home to the North Shore. This happens every weekend. It is impossible to get a taxi. I've stopped trying." Why is this minister continuing to block ride-sharing in this province?
Minister of Transportation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm very well aware of people's anxiousness to get new, safe, alternative options for transportation. After all, there has been ride sharing in this province, or available in the world, an approach to this province since 2012. So there has been quite a lot of time to get ride sharing in. Mr. Speaker, we have tabled legislation. The member opposite, I'm sure, will be part of the debate on that legislation, which really opens the door for ride-sharing companies, those app-based ride-hailing systems, to enter the market in 2019. But we want to make sure that people who are going to be carrying people for money, to earning their income or supplementing their income by driving people, are operating safely and securely. So we want to make sure we get it right, Mr. Speaker. I'm looking forward to the debate that we're going to be having in the next couple of weeks.
North Vancouver Seymour on a supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's not just Bob. My constituent Jake was forced to walk home from downtown Vancouver as well, all the way to Capilano University, after he was refused taxi service downtown. Imagine being stranded after a night out and having to walk 2 hours to get home. But it's interesting, just in the last couple of minutes, I've just become aware that over 3,000 constituent emails have been sent to all the local MLAs, as well as the minister, stating their dissatisfaction with the minister's delay in bringing forward ride-sharing. They are bringing up examples upon examples upon examples of problems getting cabs, as well as their satisfaction with ride-sharing in other jurisdictions that we don't have here. My question again to the minister is, when are we going to get ride-sharing here in British Columbia?
Minister of Transportation.
Mr. Speaker, I think I've been very clear that we had the opportunity a number of years ago when Uber sat down with the former government about potentially coming into BC. And at that time, the feeling was that safety was number one. And I would like to quote the former Minister of Transportation, the MLA for Kamloops South Thompson, who said at the time, it's not good enough to simply voluntarily stand up and say we believe we provide a safe service. If Uber believes it meets certain safety requirements, then they should have no fear of sitting down with the passenger transportation branch and going through the same process that every other taxi and limousine company has to follow. That was back in 2014, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are making sure that we are streamlining services, we're getting rid of overlaps, we're going to stop the problems of people not being able to get a cab in one jurisdiction and going to another jurisdiction, and we're laying the framework for rideshare, unlike the previous government who had 6 years to move on it and did absolutely nothing.
North Vancouver Seymour on a second supplemental.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Our side of the House had actually done the work, but right now, it's you. It's your side of the House that actually is keeping ride-sharing away from British Columbians. You've been in government for how long? This weight is all on you.
Members, the member from North Vancouver Seymour has the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This minister has strung along my constituents, your constituents, all of our constituents for far too long.
Members, order, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've got another example. This is from Carrie from Vancouver. The minister has the gall to talk about safety. On November 14th, and I quote, "My birthday. After receiving surgery at Women's Hospital, I received the runaround for hours as I sat outside under a neon sign that said main entrance while my tiny little 70-year-old mother raced up and down the street trying to get the attention of passing taxis because dispatch kept playing games with me. It was almost 4 hours since I had been discharged from the hospital by the time I got home. This government has been promising ride-sharing in 2017, 2018, now we're told 2019, now it might be 2020, or maybe never. Why are you consistently blocking ride-sharing in British Columbia?"
Minister of Transportation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The member opposite says that her government, when they were in government, has done the work. If they've done the work, where is it? We have in a year. Mr. Speaker, I know that timelines are an issue. They were an issue for that government that sat on them for 5 years. Yesterday, their spokesperson for Uber, Michael Van Hemmen, said, and I quote, "Timelines are a big question to British Columbians. There's people who've been waiting for this service since 2012, when they were in government, Mr. Speaker. They had 5 years to do something, and they sat on it for 5 years. Mr. Speaker, we have opened the door for these services through this legislation to start operating in 2019, and we fully anticipate, given the opposition's newfound interest in ride-hailing in BC, that they will fully support the legislation that is on the floor of this House.